Since you are such a special person and we have a very good relationship, I'm going to tell you a secret.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I was the middle child.
Okay.
So I was very rebellious. Whatever my brother did, I didn't want to do. If he ate all his food, I left it. If he went to study, I would not study. I was a rebel about everything. I didn't want to listen to the teachers, to my parents, to the police, to any authority.
Really?
I disliked it. Any kind of authority. So when I started in the flower business, I was always looking for something different to do. Something, and I really, not only was it something different, but it was something challenging, right? Because it was easy. Then if it was different but easy, it wouldn't be anything. So when David Austin showed his garden, his cut garden rose varieties at Hortitech in 2005.
20 years ago.
20 years ago, I thought that this was something different and interesting. And when I asked growers if they would be interested in growing that for me, they all said, no, we can grow it, but you're not gonna be able to sell it. And then I would ask designers, and they'd say, you can sell it, but you're not gonna be able to grow it. So I said, something is going on here. And so we planted the varieties, and we struggled in the beginning, Alina. It was terrible. Well, first of all, we wanted to try, but we knew it was a test. We knew it might not work. So we tested calla lilies, color hydrangeas, and garden roses at the same time, thinking that one of them would work. In 3 months, we discarded the callas because they didn't grow more than 15 centimeters tall. And it took us 5 years to discard the hydrangeas because we just couldn't get consistent product. And the garden roses weren't doing so well, but we saw there was potential because the customers wanted them. But they were hard to grow, they were hard to post-harvest and ship, and they were hard to sell because we didn't know what we were doing. So the first year, we pruned for Valentine's Day all the crop. And when we called customers to sell them garden roses for Valentine's Day, nobody wanted them. They didn't want them. And I said, but they're roses. Yeah, but they're garden roses. That's not a Valentine's Day product. So we had to send them all to a customer in Holland at 12 cents in rainbow colors for a supermarket. Can you believe it?
Like
that was our first Valentine's Day.
So I can get worse. Oh my God. Oh God.
And then there was the wedding season ends October 31st, and it's like a switch sometimes. We're in really big demand October 15th, and nobody wants them November 1st. And so when the 2nd or 3rd November came by, and I had, I don't know, 10,000 stems in the cooler, and we couldn't sell them. And I'd call customers and I'd say, okay, I'll give you a discount. Okay, I'll give them to you for free. And we couldn't get rid of them. Nobody wanted garden roses in November. They had nothing to do with them. So finally we started thinking, oh, maybe it's because it's a wedding product, which people have told us 10 times, but we didn't listen. We know everything. So finally we decided to change our sales strategy, change our color assortment, change everything, and we became a wedding company. And once that clicked, we had a tremendous boom in the first few years. We did really great. There weren't enough flowers. It was Valentine's Day from April 1st to October 31st. Wow. Valentine's Day. People would call me, why you don't have enough flowers for me? I buy from you, and it was incredible. And we went like that for 3 or 4 years before other varieties came along, and we grew quite a bit. And then it wasn't a Valentine's Day, but it was still, wedding season is still our most busy season.
Busy season.
So that's how we started.
So your most appreciated varieties are David Austin roses, or?
David Austin is our largest brand and our most coveted brand, and also the most recognized by the industry and the end consumer brand. And that's what differentiates it from all the others. A bride can walk into a flower shop and already ask for David Austin roses for their wedding. They know the brand.
Okay. Is that because they personally advertise the brand? Like they have a good advertise?
Yes, I think that's a part of it. But I think that the biggest reason is because their parents would go to nurseries all over the world and see shrubs, David Austin shrubs, in a big green pot with a big gold logo. And so they all knew about garden roses and David Austin garden roses in their gardens.
Right.
And they always knew they were beautiful and they were fragrant, so that's what they did. But no, I want to go back to the rebel part.
Yes, please. Tell me.
So the rebelliousness continues to be a part of our strategy.
Okay.
Well, no, of my strategy. So when we have a committee of new varieties and there's a variety that nobody likes, that's the one I want to choose. And I want to go out and find a customer for that variety and make it a success because nobody else likes it.
So that nobody else will grow it except you. So then you have a great, probably commercial product only for yourself?
Yes.
Do you have something like that now?
Midori, Pincus.
Oh, yes.
And next year we're going to have Shido, Princess Shido. And then there's the Shiraz, which is a yellow with a red center. Nobody's going to want that. I'm going to find somebody, but it's going to be hard.
See, that means to have, to be persistent in something. This is how I made it, but it's not about me, it's about you. So
no, but it could be about you.
No, I just love your farm. I buy roses every week. You already know that. I already learned how to properly take care of them in order to perform. But still, you have so many new varieties every year. You have so many new strategies every year. It's so hard to keep up with you, Joey. What are you doing? And nowadays you grow the most beautiful dahlias in the world, cafe au lait.
Yes.
Oh my
beautiful.
God. And you have all these other varieties happening here in the farm all year round, which is again crazy. Who can find in November a dahlia, right?
Right.
Right. Now you have Helleborus, which is a winter kind of winterish, springish.
Yeah.
But you will have it
This comes from realizing that we're not a seasonal area, right? We have spring weather all year. Sometimes it's rainy season, sometimes it's dry, although that's gotten mixed up, but mostly we're spring weather all year. So we have to change our mindset from the northern hemisphere where they have seasonality of products. We can have products all the time.
Right.
And that is a huge value in our geography that nobody's really taking advantage of. So to have things like abelia or dahlias or even tweedia all year from the same place is fabulous. Consistent product all weeks of the year is something the market craves.
But do you, when you pick the right varieties, do you consider them to be in alignment with the other rose varieties that you have? So it has to go well, right, with your flowers?
The reason we're going to some other species isn't because we don't love roses. Roses are our passion and we're in it for the money, but we're also in it for the beauty of it. I think everybody at Alexandra Farms loves roses. But the market is saturated with lookalikes and garden likes and it's hard for us to grow in this niche without lowering prices or lowering exclusiveness or lowering quality, and we don't want to do that. So we have to grow. You have people's salaries have to go up. Things are more expensive, so you have to grow. And we wanted to grow with complementary products to roses. So very high-end fillers, very high-end things that aren't available everywhere all the time.
You're right.
And that's the product. And it's really hard to innovate. And it's only the perseverance and the stubbornness that's going to get us there.
Yeah, the rebellion situation you were mentioning earlier. But you also grow some native species now, like jasmine and...
Yes, one of our customers identified some endemic species as good cut flowers. And together we formed a partnership to try to exploit things like fragrant jasmine, a fabulous product that grows. This is in the United States. We can sell it in Europe to other customers, but in the United States they have exclusivity. But it can grow 2 meters long or 1.50 meters long and make beautiful arches, and the fragrance is there, and the leaves are delicate, the flowers are beautiful.
But you have the only jasmine I have ever seen being sold with flowers on it.
Yeah.
I only saw maybe the green stuff without the flower.
Oh,
so you have also the flowers on the stems.
Our jasmine is exported with 1 of 4 bunches of flowers opening.
Wow.
And the 4 will open in water.
Yeah.
So when it's all open, it's incredibly fragrant and beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're increasing production of jasmine, but it's very slow. Innovation is very slow, and agriculture is very slow, so it'll take us a while.
What is your most favorite? What do you love the most about what you're doing?
I've been asked that question before, and so I've had time to think about it.
Oh.
The roses, I love them. I love being in a room with roses. When I'm standing in front of all the varieties that we've nurtured for 20 years and brought them to market, I'm the happiest. But I think the only thing I love more is the people that I've gotten to meet. People like you that are passionate about roses, that are good people, that you know, and getting to know the culture of the different markets we go to, like meeting with a Japanese person or with a Russian person or with an American or with somebody from France. It's so different, and getting to meet all these people because the flowers sell all over the world.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know about flowers open so many doors for me. I would never, ever reach to those doors without flowers.
Flowers are amazing.
Who would have thought that? Yes.
What other commodity can get you all over the world? Maybe wine or chocolates or something cool like that.
Yeah, but flowers, you will never expect that flowers to be such a powerful product that could develop you, I don't know, enrich you in so many ways.
Enrich you, that's a good word.
Yeah.
Enrich your life.
Enrich your life. And such a good quality products like yours. And you know you have good products.
Well,
we
realized from the beginning that the quality was number one, especially with garden roses, right? If the garden roses that are already delicate didn't work for people, we wouldn't get off the launch pad. So from the beginning, quality was an important standard, and that includes selecting varieties that last a long time in the vase and in the shelf. That's key to quality. And also, we found that diversity, giving the florists as many colors and as many shapes as possible so that they have all these crayons, all these paints to do all of their designs with.
But when you say garden, so there are so many garden-like varieties nowadays, but your garden roses are authentic. Some of them have royalties. Could you explain what exactly is a garden rose variety that is grown here in your farm?
Well, we were innovating when we selected garden roses because the category of cut garden roses wasn't really clear what it was. I'm going to get a little technical.
Okay.
Tantau and Cordes had bred varieties called Friedlander roses grown outside of the greenhouse, and they were developed for German growers that didn't want to spend money on heating or cooling. Mm-hmm. They wanted to plant these outside, and they wanted them to have a vase left because they were cut flowers. So they're garden roses, but they have cut flower characteristics. Okay. And that's what we found.
Okay.
But the definition of what a garden rose is a garden rose is one that survives the winter's frost and nothing else. Okay. So there's hybrid teas that are garden roses and hybrid teas that are developed for under greenhouse. The family structure of where the rose comes from isn't necessarily make it a garden rose or not a garden, just that it survives the winter's frost. But we felt that we couldn't go out to a customer and say, this one survives the winter frost, buy it, because they wouldn't care. So we went after cup shapes, everything that's non-spiral, we felt was going to add texture to a design. Cup shapes, frilly flowers, colors. In the garden rose line, there's a lot more variation in color than there is in the greenhouse bred ones. Because florists get calls for yellow flowers. They don't get calls for yellow with a little bit of a dark pink edge flowers, right? So breeders are asked for a pure yellow and a pure orange. But in the garden roses, you can have mixtures. like a free spirit, right? Which is a garden rose that ended up being commercially grown. And so the shapes, the colors, and of course the fragrance got lost in breeders looking for extra vase life. And it's true that fragrance is associated with short vase life, but there are exceptions. And that's what we try to find and grow. And so if you have a shape and a fragrance, it's bringing back the romance of roses from years ago, from when roses were grown in your own gardens or by growers right close to the cities where they were consumed. They could be fragrant and they could have performance. Performance is what differentiates us, I think, the most. So yes, we're garden roses, but our roses perform and they interact with you in the vase. And so when you have a vase of flowers in your home every day,
you can watch them opening,
dancing a little bit for you. And it's really a death dance because they're giving everything they have to entertain you until they die.
So nice. Wow. One more story, Joey. You told me this story, I think yesterday when we were on the bus, that you, during one of your visits, you and your CAO, I think, or general manager here, you spotted a strange, good-looking variety, a French variety, in a landscape situation, and then you stopped and tried to. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Tell me that story because it's just fantastic.
When we first started and the productivity was so low with our varieties, we found an expert in California that he was a collector of old garden roses, right? He had a catalog of 300 varieties that were over 50 years old, each one of them. And he seemed to be an expert in garden roses. So we asked him to come to Colombia and help us. And as we were in the car going past the central plaza of Tocancipá, the closest city to here, he said, "Stop the car, I see a rose variety." And so I said, "Yeah, it's probably taken from one of the farms." He said, no, this is special. So we went and he looked at it and he took a picture of it and we took a stem to the farm and we budded it and grafted it to see what it was. And that evening, he looked it up in the computer and he said, "This variety is called Madame Trousseau. It was launched in 1950 by the Mayand company." I'm not sure it was Mayand or a French Guillot, some French company. And in those years, Latin America would import roses from France without any phytosanitary. There wasn't those controls. And so you'll find in cemeteries and in local plazas, you'll find varieties that are almost 100 years old. Wow. And the ones that still grow are really good because they're selected by the environment to produce. So Madame Trousseau is one of those. Alas, it had no vase life, but it was a great story.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing.
I've told you one of some of the most intimate stories already, very quickly. Very special, yes.
Because this is what we do. We share intimate things, you know, when we are so passionate about what we're doing. Why did you choose to make a rose for me?
There are certain things. Now that I consider myself older and I've been successful at what I've done. When I spot talent in anything I like, in a musician or in a designer, I really want to support that and I want to be a part of it. And your talent, Alina, is I don't think there's a handful of designers in the world that have your talent to make my product look absolutely beautiful. And that's why you have a variety named after you.